working on lots of different products. Yeah. I can't. I actually asked about whether I could say anything related to the development, and the answer was no. Yeah. We can ping pong. You can come back to you. Yeah.
So first of all, we were talking a little bit early in the talk about Intel and ARM, the way processors are right now. Right now, ARM dominates the portable space, the tablet space, the smartphone space. But what about Intel's efforts in that area, with like their Atom processor stuff? Where do you see those efforts in like 5 or 10 years? I think what's their great?
Yeah. So in some ways, I do feel a little nostalgic sometimes for the glory days of microprocessors, when I'd be happy getting my microprocessor report to hear SPARC versus PA RISC versus Power versus x86 versus ARM, and now it really is x86 and ARM. I mean, PowerPC is still there for the Wii U and for some embedded things, but it's clear that we're getting a duopoly. And I always find it remarkable how Intel had the strong ARM technology from DEC. When DEC fell apart, Intel had the world's best ARM processor for years. They did nothing with it and eventually divested it. And now all of a sudden the ARM stuff is super important. So betting against Intel on an engineering basis is a CPU engineering basis is probably really, really risky. Now, I mean, they don't look as invincible after sort of flubbing the Larrabee stuff, but they still probably have the best guys at the circuit, at the low-level circuit layer, when you're looking at things at the process level and how to get the very best out of, not some synthesize out of a bunch of RTL core logic stuff, but when you're going down saying, we're going to make the most efficient thing, they are probably better at it than anybody that's making ARM processors. The baggage of the x86 is really not as much as a lot of people would think. When you can look at it as, in fact, there was a lovely article that came out in this last year about trying to analyze the real importance of instruction sets, and there was a bunch of data through there. I heard people contesting the results of it, but the result that was reported was that the architectural overhead of the x86 instruction set is really not that much. It's offensively ugly from if you look at the manuals on there about how much is devoted to all of it. But in terms of what it costs you in terms of power and silicon, it's not that large. Now, whether x86 is going to be able to compete I don't look forward to a multi-CPU like Android ecosystem, back to fat binaries and runtime translation. That's not a happy thing, really. And whether Intel would ever swallow their pride and make another ARM core, I mean, they could probably make a really, really strong ARM core, but that does not seem to be their plan of record. Pushing with Atom, I think they're going to have adoption problems with it, even when they do probably wind up starting to win benchmarks, power benchmarks and all that. But they do seem committed to it. They know the writing's on the wall. This already far more processors are sold there, and eventually the raw dollar volume is going to be larger in the ARM space. I mean, right now the margins are spectacular for x86.